Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack. In today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest, current professional goaltender, Kaden Fulcher. Kaden is a current professional hockey goaltender in the American Hockey League with the Grand Rapids Griffins. He also spent time in the NHL with the Detroit Red Wings and the ECHL with the Toledo Walleye. Throughout his first 3 years of pro hockey, he played junior hockey in the Ontario Hockey League with the Sarnia Sting and Hamilton Bulldogs. So it's gonna be a really fun episode, Kaden. So welcome to the show, Kaden Fulcher.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jack. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So how have you been? Like things have been crazy this past season with like the COVID season and everything like that. So like how has the off season been for you so far?
It's been good. It's kind of been, just as crazy kind of as the season with going up and down on taxi squad and being in the AHL. But it's kind of nice to see restrictions kind of getting lifted here, and just getting back in the gym, trying to find a place to live here, and the daily grind. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You gotta love the daily grind for sure. It's nothing better.
Yeah, oh yeah, summertime grind. It's every off season they kind of tell you got to get bigger, stronger, faster. So making sure you're doing the right things in the off season.
Yeah, exactly. So to start off, can you give our viewers like a little background information on yourself? Like when you started playing hockey, what was youth hockey growing up for you, and like why you became a goaltender?
Yeah, I think I started playing hockey in Canada. I started kind of late at 8 years old, since usually you start kind of skating and learning to play around 4 or 5. But I picked it up late. A bunch of my friends back in elementary school played hockey, and I wanted to try. And I started off in lacrosse first, and I wanted to be a goalie in lacrosse. And my mom watched one game and said, "No chance, I'm putting my kid in goal in lacrosse there." And so I just said, "What about hockey?" And she said, "All right, well, we'll give it a shot." And first time I stepped on the ice, I fell flat on my face and all my goalie gear at 8 years old. But ever since that first day, I absolutely loved it. I loved the gear. We got the best gear on the ice for sure. But it was just one of those things where you just try it out, and that's all you could ever kind of picture yourself doing the rest of your life.
Exactly. You gotta love the gear and like the customization that you can have from your mask to your pads, even to your chest and all that. Like the customization is unreal, and that's one of the biggest things I think that draws people to goalies, just how you can customize. There's like a ton of different ways that you can to help yourself look sexy out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I played in minors for Lambton Junior Sting, so we were black and yellow, and I love Flurry's all yellow gear. So I ripped that, and I wore that gear my whole minor career, and started off with the Reeboks with Flurry, and I was absolutely in love with the guy at that age. And even then, when I got to juniors, I think I got traded to Hamilton, and we switched over to black and yellow. And I think one of the sets I wore there was all yellowed out, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, always gotta love those colored pads, and just like if like especially that like bright color, like the yellow gold, like you gotta love, just you stand out for sure.
Yeah. I don't know how happy my coaches were about it. I guess they did a big study on how puck's easiest to see off yellow gear, but it's also kind of a confidence factor that you're walking in, and like you said, like you're looking good, you're looking spicy in there, and you kind of got a little bit of extra swagger to your game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So then going into this season a little bit here, you spent this past season in the AHL with the Grand Rapids Griffins, where you played 7 games, going 2-2-3. So like, what was this season like for you personally and for the team, with like the challenges you guys had to face around with the COVID season going on?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge we faced as a team was probably just knowing, there's no playoffs this year in the AHL. Like, how do we kind of stay motivated? What are we playing for here? And it was lucky that, sorry, I got my dogs playing in the background here, but a couple of gremlins. But no, I think just trying to stay motivated. Like, I think a lot of the guys, it was lucky. Hey, I was lucky that we had a really good group, and it wasn't really hard to play for the guy next to you. You know what I mean? Like we had a really close knit group in that locker room, and especially kind of bouncing up between taxi squad and coming back down to GR. Just both teams are just such close with such great guys in the team that it was easy to go up and down. It was nice to go up and see all the guys up top, and then come back down to all your buddies in the AHL there. So I think the way that we just played for each other was pretty incredible, especially this year with everything going on.
Absolutely. And I think it'll be pretty difficult to stay motivated, especially without playoffs happening. But like when you have a close team like that, like you guys play for each other and you play every single game for each guy on the team. So I think that helps you guys stay motivated the entire way. And just even though there is no playoffs, like you're still fighting for the guy next to you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There was still every guy still had that hunger to win. I mean, we didn't want to go out there and lose any games. So I think just the way everybody came to practice, everybody dealt with the COVID testing. I mean, it's never fun getting a Q-tip up to the back of your brain every day. But obviously we were pretty lucky to still kind of have work with the pandemic going on, and a lot of guys realized that we could have been in a lot worse positions, like some people in this world. And we kind of took it, we kind of cherished it a bit more this year, and especially after last season ending kind of quick with COVID, I think everybody was just really happy to be back at the rink and around all the guys again.
Yeah, for sure. So what did you have to learn throughout like the season with the changes and everything, especially like when a game could get canceled or pushed back within a few hours of the game to like a couple days out?
Yeah, I was just kind of making sure that it was such a weird year. I mean, you're not staying overnight anywhere the day before a game. You're hauling 6-hour bus trips day of the game. It was a lot different than a normal year, but just making sure that you're doing all the right things. I mean, every day was a lot, even more so important this year than it was, in a normal season where, okay, we're going to have this many rest days. We're going to have no practice this day. It was, a lot of guys were taking a lot of long naps there towards the end of the season. I think we played 12 games in 16 days, which usually never happens, right? So it was, you never knew when a game could get canceled, but especially having such a big roster this year with a couple leagues not running or a couple teams not playing in the East Coast League or the American League, everybody had to stay ready. So it was kind of good. Everybody was dialed in the whole year, which was nice. And I think that part kind of helped us as well.
The true minor league grind, just playing 12 games in 16 days and just going on 6-hour bus trips the day of the game. Like that's the epitome grind of minor league hockey right there.
Oh, it's the jungle. It is truly the jungle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So then April 23rd, you picked up your first career AHL win, stopping 27 in a 2-1 win over Cleveland. So like, what was it like getting back in the win column for the first time in 2 years, especially after coming off that injury you had the year prior?
Yeah, it was, it was just a good feeling. I mean, especially with the group we had, just seeing all the guys so happy that, I finally got my chance to play and finally got back in the win column after 2 years and coming off a hip surgery, it was pretty special to me. I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to play hockey again. And you never know with a surgery like that, especially as a goalie, right? So it was a special moment. It would have been nice to have my parents come over from Canada, but with all the COVID stuff, it was nice that my girlfriend was there to make it out. And all the guys were just so happy, and a bunch of guys texted me from Detroit after the game, saying congratulations, like keep going. So I think that kind of really gave me some confidence, and it really motivated me.
Yeah, that's unreal, especially after coming off hip surgery. That's a big surgery that you have to go through, and just with everything you have to deal with, like goaltending is all in the hips a lot, and like you're using your hips every single time you're on the ice for every single movement. So just getting that win must have been an unreal feeling, and just made you so happy and proud of yourself, especially after those 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, I think that rehab was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Just even learning to walk again after having that done, and just sitting around for a week or two and spending a couple of weeks on crutches. It made me realize how lucky I'd been up until that point, injury wise, for sure, and gave me a lot more respect to those guys that have gotten multiple surgeries done, cut both hips done, and still managed to play at a high level.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into like the taxi squad here, like what was it like going up to the taxi squad for a few games and then come back down to the Grand Rapids and just going up and down throughout the season?
Yeah, it was a lot of movement. Especially I remember my girlfriend. She didn't know anything about hockey until she met me, and she was like, "You live out of your truck." And it was a year living out of my truck. It was, you always had a bag pack kind of in the truck, ready to go at a moment's notice when they needed you, or you're always made sure you kept the shorts out in case you're going on a road trip up top to Tampa or Florida. And it was a lot of work to kind of make sure you're staying on top of everything for sure. But I was lucky to get up there and lucky to be around the guys. And we got in the win column a couple times when I was up there, and those are always great vibes up there up top. And I like the guys a lot. We trained with them through the summer, and it's just like a lot of people probably think, oh, it's the NHL and stuff like that, but they're regular guys just like me and you. A hockey locker room never changes, right? So just getting up there and laughing and enjoying the good vibes up there was pretty unreal.
Yeah, just hanging with the boys. There's nothing better. Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You talk to the guys that retired from the game early, and they say, you missed the game, but you missed the boys more. And I don't doubt that that would be the case.
Yeah, for sure. So how hard was it, or was it hard at all to like just continue to practice? Like, you're not getting any game action on the taxi squad. You're just practicing. Like, does it get hard and just taxing on your body, especially just taking shots after shots? Like, how did the taxi squad work for you this season?
Yeah, especially as a goalie, it's a lot of pucks. Maybe some drills, you're just taking one timers, kind of being more of a target than a goalie almost. But it was always good just getting up there, eating those pucks. It's the NHL, it's a higher level, and you got to push yourself every day. And if you're not kind of ready to go in practice, it's going to show at that level. So it was good to get that experience. It was good to see those shots on a daily basis, but it was definitely hard physically and mentally. You're not playing games. You never know if you're going to get a game this year, when that game's going to come. So just treating every practice going into it like it's a game, especially for me this year, that was a big thing that my goalie coaches and management kind of stressed on me was, hey, every time you go into a practice, like this is a game for you, especially this season. You got to keep developing, and maybe you're not in the most ideal situations, but every time I went on the ice, I was like, if I can get just 0.1% better out here today, it's going to be a good day. So kind of looking at it with that mindset was good, and it helped me stay in game shape and game ready all year long.
Yeah, that's a great mindset to have, especially when you're not playing, you're not going into game action every night, but you're just practice. Like, getting that 1% better is going to help you in the end game and just develop even further and further in your career as the longer you go.
Yeah, exactly right. So I think just practice habits that I've drilled into myself, and that's been drilled into me by management and my goalie coaches in the past, and that I have right now, it's really helped me this year especially.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into last season a little bit here, in 2019-2020, played 2 games with the Toledo Walleye in the ECHL before getting hip surgery, like you said, and being out of tons. Like, how hard was that year for you? Like you said, it was one of the hardest things you've had to deal with. So like, what was like rehab like, and just getting back from that injury?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I pulled my groin on the same side that I had hip surgery on. So they figured that I ended up pulling my groin just because I had that bone growth on my hip and a torn labrum. So they were like, all along, it still wasn't really getting better. My left leg was still sore, but you know how it is, like when you're a goalie, your hips get sore and you're like, it's just a sore hip. I'll play through it. I'll try and get back. So that was tough, kind of trying to fight it and get back in the lineup, coming off, what's kind of seen as a minor injury. And then obviously they pushed for me to get an MRI, and, it was a right decision. And they found that that surgery was probably needed here. And it was tough, especially, you get surgery done, you're not around the rink every day. Luckily that was just pre-COVID, because when I got my surgery, my mom had to come down. I couldn't walk, I couldn't get around. The first couple of days were pretty painful, but I think the hardest part was just, you never realize how much stuff you take for granted, like walking or being able to do just like a glute bridge, and how hard it was to kind of get back and start from what felt like nothing to kind of get your body back to that of a pro athlete and get your strength back and get your balance back and just even learn to walk the same way you did before. It was really tough, but luckily I had a really good rehab team up in Ann Arbor, and I'd make that drive from Toledo just an hour, probably 3-4 times a week. So I wasn't at the rink much, wasn't around the guys much, just going to home games and stuff like that. But mentally it was definitely a hard year, and luckily I got to go back home after that year when it ended, and keep up with self rehab and get back on the ice with my goalie coach in Canada. And he was great with making sure we're following requirements, like getting on the ice. And the first couple sessions you're doing just 15 minutes on the ice, just normal skating, and you're dead tired after it, and you're just thinking to yourself, like, man, like, how am I ever going to get back to where I was and build on that? But luckily I did, and it was a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. But I probably wouldn't have it any other way. It gave me a lot more appreciation for things you kind of take for granted.
Hey, you made it back to where you were before, and you're in the AHL right now. So I would say that's pretty successful for post hip surgery and all that, and just trying to get right back into shape as you were before.
Yeah, it definitely worked out. Kind of worked out in the better.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, what was that off season going into between like your surgery and this season? Like, there was like the longest off season anyone's probably ever had. So like, what was that like off season like, especially when you're not playing games for 10, 11 months, and just you're just having to train, and it gets unmotivating at sometimes because you're just doing it repetitively. But like, what kept you motivated throughout that time? Like, what do you do to help yourself get better from that surgery and get ready for this season?
It was crazy. Even I think 2 days ago, one of the guys in Detroit looked at me and said, like, I don't know how you're doing this right now, Fulch. Like, you've been over here 14 months straight, just grinding away. And, sometimes it might get a little bit repetitive, and a little bit kind of like you're sitting there and you're like, maybe I'll just give, 95% today. But, just, working out with guys like Glenner and Helmer and management's keeping in touch with you. They're sending you video throughout the summer. Like, it's so easy to stay dialed in nowadays, and it's so easy to kind of feed off those guys that are training right there alongside you. Like, you're slugging through the same stuff together, and it's how hockey is. It's just such a good community. Guys feed off each other, and I think a lot of my motivations just came from I want to make it to that next level. I want to be the best. And, I'm lucky to have my girlfriend over here, and she's great to kind of help me out and take my mind off hockey when I'm away from the rink. And then you get to the rink and the boys are there. So it's nice that you're not too lonely, obviously, haven't been able to go back home, but, just feeding off those people in my life right now that are able to see me and be close to me, and keeping up with my family is really good motivation for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that support system's huge, because not every day is a bright day in sports or in life in general. And just having that support group takes away so much, and just takes away so much stress from whatever you're dealing with, and just you're able to just enjoy your time with them and just relax for a little bit.
Yeah, it's great for you mentally, right? And I've got my 2 dogs here at the hotel with me, and every day you come back from the rink, you come back from training, and you're dead tired and you're just beat up, and they're just so happy to see you. I can't help but put a smile on your face and kind of lift you back up if you had a rough day or if you had a hard day at training. So just having kind of that support group, that family, girlfriend, the guys at the rink and at training is it makes it a lot easier for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So then going into like your surgery go back a little bit. Like, obviously that support system's huge. I'm sure you're a big support system for your teammates during that time, and just being there whenever you can, especially since you couldn't really do anything after that surgery. So like, how important was it to be their support system throughout that time, and just have them support you as well in your recovery?
It was huge. I mean, even this year, you're not playing until like April. You're spending the whole kind of year sitting there, wondering, am I going to play at all? Am I just going to be a practice guy this year? What's going to happen? And just the guys being there for you, obviously your girlfriend being there for you through those hard times, listen to you vent or do whatever, you know what I mean? You're trying not to let it affect you too much mentally, but a great guy, a great role model for me this year was Calvin Pickard. He was in the same situation, didn't play a whole lot this year, waited a bit to get his first games in up top, and I think only played 2 in the American League, but just seeing how great of a locker room guy he was, how positive he was. And I kind of took that and I said, what's the best way that I can help the team out right now? And, even not playing, I want to win. And if the best way to help the team out is being the guy on the sidelines, making guys laugh, picking guys up when they're down, just being there for whether it's something going on with their family or away from the rink or with their play, and, taking younger guys out to dinner, stuff like that. If, once you start doing that stuff and it's second nature, especially we were so close in juniors, guys would do that all the time. And just kind of getting back to that and, saying, hey, maybe me not playing a whole lot this year isn't great for me. And, it's hard mentally. But if I can help the team win and, be a better guy in the room here and always just, when I get in there, when I get in practice, taking all maybe the shots you don't really want to take in a normal year, like one-timers or playing 2 hours of 3-on-3 after practice, that goes a long way with the guys. And, you're always in there competing and just working hard, and they respect that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great mindset to have, especially like you just gotta do the work that you can, especially and the stuff that you don't want to do. Like it goes a long way, like you said, and just with your teammates and everything. And then just being supportive throughout everything. Like it helps bring the locker room closer, your friends, family, girlfriend closer to you. And just it all like comes full circle, and like everything becomes a lot easier in terms of like having that balance between everything.
Yeah, for sure. I think even, with this long off season, I think, the past year, last year, I kind of looked at myself and at my career, and I said, hey, like, before being a better hockey player this year, I want to be a better person. That's my number one goal. And, once you start thinking like that and you start doing more with the community, with charities, with your teammates, with, whether it's helping out their girlfriend or wives or picking a guy up at the airport or stuff like that, it goes a long way. And you just focusing, once I focus on being a better person, that's when, everything kind of came together in hockey. And I don't think it's a coincidence.
Yeah, I love what you said there. And just I want to go back in the 2018-2019 season when you first came into the league. 2018-2019, you played in, or you touch all 3 leagues, the NHL, the AHL, and the ECHL. So take us back to that game that you had in the NHL when you had to come in for relief for Jimmy Howard.
Yeah, I think, that weekend when I got called up was probably the craziest time of my life. I think I backed up a game in every league that weekend. I backed up, and I think we were on the road in Toledo, and I caught a flight the next morning after the game and flew to Rockford after I backed up that game with Toledo. And then I backed up the next night in Rockford, and then another guy went down and they said, hey, we need you in Detroit. So you're hopping on another flight. And my family never flew much when I was younger. So I'm texting my mom thinking I'm going to be missing my plane, going to be late, getting there 5 hours early, like the classic parent move. And I'm a 20-year-old kid, but, it was just unbelievable, super cool to kind of experience that lifestyle for a week there and see how much goes into being an NHL player, how well they take care of their bodies, all the right things that they do, and taking that experience. And the guys are real good to me, obviously, and getting into that game was pretty funny. I think we were down 5-1, and Jimmy Howard ended up hurting his groin there, and he said, hey, I got to come out here. And, we were down 5-1, and, all the trainers there and the coach looked at me with a smile and said, hey, last game of the year, like, you're going in, kid. And, you're never really happy if you're down 5-1, but, just seeing everybody smiling for me, even though we're down and we're going in, it's the last game of the year. And that's always going to be a special moment to me, especially having my parents there, my grandma there to see me. And I was just thinking, as soon as I stepped on that ice, like, my legs are absolute wet noodles just stepping on the ice. I was like, man, just don't fall, get into this crease here, man. That's the last thing you want to do is end up on Sports Center, top 10 worst plays, getting into your first NHL game. But I made it to the crease and I made my first save, and the fans all kind of knew that I was coming in, and they gave me a big cheer for it. And it was just like a wrister from the blue line. But it's something that you'll never forget for the rest of your life.
Yeah, a save that you should have 10 times out of 10 times for the most part. And just, so like, what was your favorite moment from that game? And just, or was it just playing just the entire rest of the game that you had that Jimmy came out?
It was definitely just being in there, just enjoying it. I think Jeff Skinner ended up getting his 40th goal on me, making an extra mil on his next deal. It couldn't even toss me a couple dollars. He was out there shooting everything in the third period because he was at 39, just letting them rip from everywhere. And I think I let in a squeaker on him to give him the 40th. So, that would probably be the funniest kind of takeaway, funniest moment of the game for me was that Skinner was just ripping everything, trying to get his 40th on me. That's something I won't forget. But just being able to have my parents there and my grandma there, so much of what they did, from minor hockey till that moment for my career, driving me to practice, driving me to long games, paying for all my equipment, just for them to be there and kind of see it pay off and see me kind of make my dream. I think that's the most special moment for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So like, did you feel comfortable at all throughout that game, or like when was the point when you were like, I feel comfortable? Was it after that first save?
Yeah, I think once you kind of get that first save, you kind of, okay, this is just another hockey game at the end of the day. It's, maybe it's the NHL, but just focusing on the next puck, especially after that first save, was it's kind of when I settled in, and that was definitely kind of the settle-in point. The legs kind of come back under you there after you're done that long skate to the net, but that would be the point for sure.
Yeah, and just your job doesn't change. You just got to stop the puck. Like, it doesn't matter what league it is. Your job is the same. Just keep the puck out of the net.
Yeah, the classic favorite minor hockey coach line. Just whatever you do, you just stop the puck, and getting into that mindset, especially going into your first NHL game. That's kind of the mindset you got to have.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what were your emotions after the game, or was it just like, did you believe it after the game, or were you just still like, everything was like surreal still?
Everything was still kind of surreal. I can vividly remember both goals that went in on me. Classic goalie. Both of them, you look at them, you're like, I could have stopped both those shots. Like, come on, man. That was definitely probably primary emotion after the game was, what was I doing on this goal? What was I doing on that goal? Like, those are two saves I could have had if I'm here or here. Classic goalie, but it was still surreal to me. Just being able to give my dad the first game puck that they gave me for playing in NHL after the game. That's a moment I'll never forget in my life. And it was kind of surreal. And all the guys are coming up to you after and saying, "Hey, man, like, played well in there. You didn't look out of place." And that was kind of nice and made it all the more special.
Yeah, for sure. And just being like the goalie ourselves, like, it's crazy how we could remember a goal and how it went in just like that. We could like pick up a play and just like probably play like pretty much the majority of the play before it enters, and then like you just say, if I did this, I could have stopped it. Like, I should have stopped it.
And everybody tells you, especially, well, when you're playing, it's, one goes in, you just forget about it, water off the back, when you're playing. But, after the game, I'm sure you could even sit here and pull a couple junior games that I played back in the day and say, oh, you remember this goal? And I'll be able to tell you, yeah, like, this is where it went in. This is where I should have been. This is what I thought after it went in. We're so memory driven and such students of the game, goalies, you kind of have to be. So, it was kind of funny that, I just played my first game in the NHL, and all I'm thinking about after the game is, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that, or I should have had this play here. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, what was it like learning from Jimmy Howard and Jonathan Bernier throughout your time in Detroit, and just learning from these guys who've been at the level for a long time, and just learning from them and just seeing them in practice do what they do, and just especially in the games too?
They're both just such great guys, especially in the room, as a big thing that I took away from both those guys. I know being up on taxi squad this year, especially Bernie it's been such a great mentor to me, you know, training with me in the summer. You know, he's looking at you when you're in the net, he's out in the net, he's saying, hey, you know, quiet your feet down, you know, maybe you got to play with your hands more. You got to make sure that you're tracking pucks first with your eyes. Your head's always over everything. Like just him and Thomas Grice this year give me those kind of pointers. You know, it's an NHL goalie telling you that. You're never going to forget, you know, what he said. You know, you're going to constantly think about it. You know, when you're in practice and you're trying to improve, and you're going to say, hey, you know, oh, this is where Bernie said, hey, my feet are moving too much, or hey, this is where Bernie said I got to lead with my eyes more. I got to have my hands more in front of me. You know, him taking me out for dinner, let me pick his brain about everything from, you know, his career path, you know, how to stay in it, you know, like just how to handle, you know, the setbacks, you know, just learning from him, both the mental side of the game and the technical part. He's been such a good role model, such a good guy to learn from, especially, you know, the way he's been playing, you know, in Detroit. He's been really good. And he's just been, you know, usually guys like that, maybe they don't always take such an interest in the younger guys, and it's easy to kind of brush those guys off. But, you know, him just being such a good guy to me is something that, you know, I'm thankful for every day, especially with my career and focusing on the points that he told me to, and, you know, remembering his words, especially, you know, when he takes you out for dinner and you're just sitting there kind of shooting the stuff about the game and just learning from him and picking up technical skills, mental skills. He's just such a good role model for younger goalies.
Yeah, that's awesome that you had Bernie and Grice this year, and just their top tier goalies in the NHL right now, and just learning from them. Like, you could learn so much from just watching them, and then, like you said, from them as well, and just how they handle everything, just because it's not easy being a goalie or being a pro athlete. So, like, just being able to, like, handle the different situations, scenarios that come their way, you could learn a lot from that.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, they always treated you, you know, the same as any other teammate, no different, because you're a 22-year-old goalie who's played 2 years in the East Coast League. You know, they treat you the same, just as they would, you know, Dylan Larkin or anybody like that. So just them being great guys and helping me out that way was, you know, they were real good to me, and you know, I'm thankful for it. And I think they're both great guys, and I'd say they're, you know, just taking me out for dinner, doing stuff like that. You know, they're guys to kind of model yourself after as a person and a goalie.
Yeah, that's unreal. So your first year pro, you play in the ECHL, AHL, and the NHL. So, like, what was the differences that you noticed from going from each level, from the coast to the AHL and then the AHL to the NHL?
I think a little bit in the speed. I think the speed of the passing in the NHL is a lot quicker than both in the AHL and especially the East Coast League, right? But you know, there's a lot of good players that I don't think the East Coast League really gets the recognition it deserves. You know, it's hard to put up good numbers down there. You know, you're only running 9 forwards in a game. Guys are getting tired. It's a lot easier to make mistakes. But you know, the difference in the shot levels, maybe you don't have any Alex Ovechkins in the East Coast League, but you know, just consistently across the board, like, everybody can shoot nowadays, everybody can skate nowadays. So I think kind of just the speed at which the play kind of happens is a lot. As you go up the levels, it gets a lot faster, both at the AHL and then obviously at the NHL, it gets faster from the AHL. But you know, the East Coast League is a little bit more scrambly. There's a lot more broken plays. There's a lot more net front garbage. There's a lot more pucks that you're seeing through your own D-man screen. And as you go up, the D-men are able to help you out a bit more and make it easier on you. But then the shots get a little bit more accurate, where if you're out of place, you know, you're not going to make that save.
Yeah, so, like, what did you notice throughout, like, going up the levels at, like, especially with, like, screens and, like, net front presence? Like, everyone gets bigger and stronger in front. You're getting pushed around a lot more from, like, when you go from the OHL to the coast to pro, and, like, you're dealing with bigger bodies, like, stronger guys getting tossed a little more. So, like, how did you deal with the net front presence and just getting those sight lines, especially during a screen as well?
Yeah. Screenplay was something that I worked on a lot, especially this past year. I think the guys in the NHL are so good at taking goalies' eyes away and tipping pucks. You know, it's a lot better than both the AHL and obviously the East Coast League. But you know, the guys are bigger and stronger in the NHL. Just making sure you're putting on more weight in the gym. And you know, for me, a big guy, I like looking over guys a lot more, unless you kind of face up against a mutant that's net front that's 6'6", and I'm looking up at him and he's 260 pounds, and that is kind of going to be tough for anybody to kind of see over that guy unless you're Pecorine. So just playing taller, I think, in screens and taking away, you know, short side and making sure I'm finding sight lines. And Jonathan Bernier said, hey, if you always have your eyes on the puck, whether you're deep in your net, you know, whether you're 2 feet outside your crease, you're going to have a pretty good chance to make that save in the NHL. So, you know, just thinking back on Bernie's ways and watching how he plays screens and, you know, recognizing the size difference that, hey, I got a couple inches on him, I can play it this way, or I like how he's playing the screen on the penalty kill versus 5-on-5, or, you know, taking a lot away from his game. And just watching him both when I was up on taxi squad, watching the games and in practice was he's always working, he's always fighting to find the puck, no matter how hard it is, no matter how many bodies he has in front of him. And that was definitely a big thing I had to change in my game.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely have a good chance to make a save when you can see the puck all the way through, and just even through screens, like if you see it, you have a pretty good chance of stopping it.
Yeah, you can always, you know, worst case, you kind of make some kind of athletic save or you get something in the way of it, or, you know, it's crazy how little guys like Jonathan Bernier move when you watch them in practice, and just how effectively they fill the net. And that was another thing that I worked on a lot this year.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to go on to your junior career a little bit here before we wrap things up. So you played in the OHL and the Ontario Hockey League, starting off with the Sarnia Sting, where you played in 3 games before getting moved to the Hamilton Bulldogs, where you played 14 games that season. Then the next year you played 44, and then you played 55 games before heading to an OHL Championship run, where you won the championship in the 2017-2018 season. So, like, what were your years of junior hockey like, and working your way to an OHL Championship after a long process of finding where you belong?
Yeah. That's the thing I like most about juniors was, you know, it gets you so ready for a pro schedule. You're playing 60 games and a season. And I was lucky enough to have 2 really good organizations in Sarnia and Hamilton. And, you know, just the way they treated their players, you know, especially after going to Hamilton, you know, getting a little bit more fan support, you know, now you're city living. It was definitely an adjustment. You know, after playing 3 games, I didn't think I'd get traded. I didn't think anybody knew my name or just, you know, I was just out there playing hockey. I didn't really think that, you know, the NHL was going to be a thing. You know, you always want to make it there, but I was just out playing hockey in Sarnia, and, you know, I got moved to Hamilton, and then, you know, they're such a good organization. They ramped everything up from, you know, my development path to giving me all those games. And, you know, it really helped me. And especially going into that last year, we had such a tight knit group. You know, those guys will be my buddies for the rest of my life. And you know how it is when you get a bunch of junior guys in a locker room, you're all the same age and you're all, you know, just dumb and young and having a good time. And, you know, we wanted to keep that season going for as long as we could. And, you know, especially the first week of training camp, you know, we'd all be going out and having a couple of drinks, and we'd look at each other and say, hey, like, we're going to win this thing this year. Like, this is going to be our year. Like, we're going to do everything we can to win this and keep this going for as long as we can. And, you know, just the way we fed off each other was unbelievable. You know, we had such a good team, such a deep team, and every guy was on the same page, which is really hard to find. And, you know, we ended up winning it. And that, along with my first NHL game, would be, you know, the best experiences in my hockey career.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you made a huge impact in Hamilton with the Bulldogs. So, like, what was your experience like in Hamilton, just being the guy since your first full season with the Bulldogs, where you played in 44 games after playing 14 the year before, and then taking the net for 55 games plus 21 playoff games the next year?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was that last year was a lot of hockey. You know, it was really important to kind of manage the body I remember we were out in the Memorial Cup, and my trainer down there, the athletic trainer, was just feeding me Advil. You know, the hips are sore, the body's sore, but you're just doing everything you can to find a way to keep playing, find a way to keep going for the guys in front of you. I know a lot of guys are banged up when we were out in the Memorial Cup there. Everybody was fighting through injuries, but nobody wanted to be out of the lineup on that stage. And we all just had a lot of fun with it out there. And, you know, we didn't get the job done at Mem Cup, but, you know, all the way through playoffs, you know, we fed off each other. We had guys playing through some bad injuries. We had guys playing through shoulder tears and banged up knees and stuff like that. And, you know, it's just the respect all the guys had for one another was for going out there and battling with your brothers. You know, I don't think you'll ever find a locker room like a hockey locker room.
Yeah, absolutely. So then on May 13th, 2018 is the day you guys won the championship versus Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Like, what was that game like? And then, like, as the clock ticked down to 0, like, and the party getting started after winning that championship, like, what was that like?
It was crazy. It was, you know, I think I can't remember it exactly. I think we scored kind of halfway through the third, late in the third, to take the lead, and I think we got an empty netter, and then they got one back, and we ended up holding off by one goal, maybe 2 goals. But you know, just being able to throw your gloves up in the air, you know, it was a complete yard sale. The guys were just so happy. Everybody had their family's day. Ended up being on Mother's Day. It was just so special for us. I think we closed out every playoff series at home. So, you know, we were right there at home. You know, we went out with, you know, management and everything after, and had a nice meal, and they picked all that up for us. And, you know, it was just so good. Everybody was just so happy to win it, and to accomplish that, and to do it for the fans. Like, we had sold out arena every game, that especially that last round. It was absolutely crazy. It was pandemonium after we won, and just being able to skate around with the cup after winning, that's it's a pretty good motivator to do that in every league that you touch.
And a hell of an after party, I would imagine, just being the craziness that goes with after winning a championship like that also like makes it a ton of fun, just being with the boys and making some more memories.
Yeah, for sure. I think me and my goal partner, you know, I ended up going out for sushi the next morning when we rolled out of bed at 2 p.m. and we still wore the same clothes that we had out the night before, and we had stains all over our clothes. We looked like we just slept in a gutter the night before, and, you know, you're still just riding that high the next morning and the next couple of days. And it was a lot of fun, that after party. I'm sure a lot of guys on that team probably wish they remembered more that night, but it was good. It was a really fun night.
That's what it's all about, and just everything that happens, just it's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being able to be there with the guys, and, you know, you feed off each other, you know, in the rink, and, you know, you definitely feed off each other just as much away from the rink. So we had a lot of fun with that. We had a lot of fun, you know, the whole year, and you know, it was a crazy couple of days after we won.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kaden, I have a few more questions for you before we wrap things up. So, do you have any tips for younger goalies looking to get to the next level?
I just think that, you know, taking that attitude, if I just get 0.1% better out of this skate, you know, every day, you know, I'm trying to get at least 0.1% better with my game, whether it's in the gym, whether it's with hand-eye training. You know, my dad always told me it doesn't matter what you do. To me, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're shoveling manure, whether you're working the trades, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a hockey player, as long as you're the hardest working guy at what you're doing. And, you know, I took those words to heart, and that's kind of the way I live my life by. And, you know, I definitely don't think I'm the most talented goaltender by far, but everywhere that I've gone so far in my career has been through hard work, and it's not done yet.
Yeah, that's a great tip. That's unreal. So, my next question for you is, what's been your favorite place you visited on the road during your pro hockey career so far?
I think down in Pittsburgh. I think when I was up that week with Detroit, and I backed up in Pittsburgh, that was a crazy game. They needed to win the game to make the playoffs, to clinch a playoff spot. And, you know, they brought back Malkin and Letang and rushed them back from injury for that game against us. And I think Phil Kessel scored on the power play and gave the fans like a free hot dog or free fries or a free hamburger. And the fans were chanting, "Thank you, Phil." And he's laughing on the bench. I mean, it's never funny to kind of see a goal scored against you, but if there was ever a time for it to be funny, that kind of would have been it. And, it was a pretty electric arena. The fans are great. And it's a pretty cool rink. Downtown Pittsburgh's pretty nice place. And I really like being on the road there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kayden, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. And I look forward to following your career the rest of the way, and hopefully I get to see you play live in person next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't be a stranger. And if you're ever coming down to Grand Rapids for a road trip, let me know, and I'll get you some tickets for you. And whether it's your girlfriend or your family or whoever you're bringing down, just let me know and keep in touch. Thanks for having me out. This was great and a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.